Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Super Breakdown. Today we'll be looking at the XM-X2EX Crossbone X2 Kai, piloted by Zabine Chareux. It's changed a little bit in its move from EX verse to regular verses, but it's still a really solid suit. I think the changes they've made for the most part are better. There's a couple small ones that we'll get into that I wish it was still the way it used to be. However, you see the basic shot. Charged version of the shot has a dedicated stun on it, which is very nice. You have the exact same stun on the striker, which lets you chain stun, which is very nice again. You have the spin, a nice little double hit there. And you have the ability to move different directions with it. It is missing some of the mobility that it had from EX versus because of that, because you don't have more than one charge of that basically. However, it allows you to move in just about any direction you want, which is very nice. Very good for escaping Garobis. And speaking of Garobis, the X2 has one, and it's very quick to pull off. You can move slightly in the direction when you use it, which is very nice, and it does quite a bit of damage. Cannot be controlled, but still, very nice. You also have the cloak. Can be taken off and put on. Again, you would only take it off if you were against an opponent that uses ballistics most of the time instead of beam weaponry, and you wanted to put it on right before Garobi hit you, but for the most part, you would want to leave it on until it is destroyed, and then it can return afterward. Ranged-wise, I think the X2 has a little bit more to it, I would say, because of the Garobi and the mobility than the X1. It's still obviously not going to be as good as like an Aegis or a Buster or a Hyzak when it comes to sheer ranged utility. But what it does have is really good. It's a really nice kit for ranged play. You balance that in with how it has a really good melee kit as well, as we will get into in just a minute. And I think the X2 is actually really solid. Show off the burst here, which is a melee burst. I missed with it. It is a melee burst, very similar to the burst from EXVS. See if we can't show it off in the second round. But as we go into the second round, of course, we have to ask the question, should you use the X2? Honestly, yeah. I think for its cost, it's pretty nice. Not many suits have a pocket Garobi like that you can just pull out. And having the dedicated stun on not just the suit, but also on the striker, I think is really nice. When we get into the melee here, you'll see that I think it actually holds a pretty good melee as well. And so it holds up fairly well compared to its competitors. There are definitely some other suits that have better melee, but I think the X2 has pretty solid melee. As we get in here to the melee, we have basic melee. Not bad at all, pretty decent damage. Back melee, which is the chain, which also has a stagger on it. It has the stun effect on the attack, where the enemy suit is electrified, but it doesn't actually stun them. It just staggers them, which is interesting. You have side melee. Bad. And you have forward melee. Forward melee, whether you're boosting or not, are two different moves. That was the boost one. The basic is a kick. The boost used to be his forward melee in Extreme Versus, so it's nice to see that it's still there. There's the forward melee. It's pretty nice. Kind of hard to show off because he keeps boosting around everywhere, but we'll see if we can't get it here. There we go. Very nice. It's a pretty good melee kit, and you'd add in the fact that the drag of the back melee pulls him to you as well. It's very nice because it uses the chain. I really just think that the X2 is a really solid suit. It's not perfect. There's a lot that it could have that would be better, but I think that what it does, really good. Here and see if we can't show off this burst this time. There it is. Quite a bit of damage, as you can see. A life from full to nothing. And then you finish him off. With all that said, I have been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum, and remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that the X2 has to offer.
裏切り？違います。初めから私の目的はコスモバビロニアの復活です。